Well, welcome back, my friends. Mo and I are here today diving into some home prices in Central Ohio and how they've changed in the past several years, why things have been strong and favorable for sellers, and what's going to happen moving forward, and how is it going to shift, and what's going to happen in 2026. All right, let's get started with where we were in 2019. According to the Central Ohio and surrounding counties housing report, the median sales price for a home in Central Ohio in 2019 was about $210,000. At that time, sellers were receiving about 98.7% of their list price at the sale. Fast forward to today, to 2025, the median sales price in Central Ohio is about $300,000. By June of 2025, that median hit $350,000, up 4.5% over a time period in 2024. All right, in May of 2025, we saw a median $335,000, and this is coming from the Board of Realtors in Columbus, Ohio. So in rough terms, from 2010 and 2019 to 300, 350, and 325, these have all changed and have increased by 50% in some submarkets. Homeowners who bought in 2019 have seen equity gains over and above what they purchased their home for. Hey, I am Annette Marble, your favorite Key Realty agent in and around Central Ohio, and we got Mo here. So, all right, for roughly around a decade and during the pandemic, Central Ohio, like most places across the U.S., have heavily turned to a seller's market. What does that mean in practice? Well, here are some of the hallmarks. All right, low inventory. There simply weren't many homes for sale in 2019. For instance, if you're about 3,886 active listings in a year in Central Ohio, this is coming from the Board of Realtors. Rapid sales, short days on the market, homes were snapped up quickly, often with little time for buyers to deliberate or even negotiate. Multiple offers and over asking. Buyers had often had to compete with others, and bidding over asking price was just a win-win for the whole deal. All right, sellers are capturing stronger price leverage demand for supply. Sellers had the bargaining power, often very aggressive pricing, and still confident that they will get the sale. A lot of people were reluctant to list. Many homeowners were rate locked into a low mortgage rates, so they didn't want to give up a favorable interest rate and further constrain any kind of supply and demand. All right, so over those years, home prices appreciation was very strong and very competitive. Price cuts or concessions were not made that often, so that's kind of a bad sign for any kind of buyer. Signals of a shift. What's changing now in 2025? We're starting to see more of a slight change in the shift in the market in Central Ohio. Rising inventory, listings are increasing. In January of 2025, the average homes were sales went up 34% increase from January of 2024. Longer times on the market. In April 2025, homes averaged 32 days on the market, which was up from 28 days from the year before. All right, slight cooling in pricing momentum. In some months, the price growth has moderated. For example, April of 25, Columbus area home prices saw a slight year-over-year decline in a rare event through overall trend, but it does remain upward. Okay, so more buyer leverage price adjustments. As buyers have more choices, there are more scenarios and renegotiating price reductions and longer decision windows for the decisions. All right, we're still getting a frenzy. Sellers are still getting strong results in many areas, especially in desirable neighborhoods, but the extreme multiple over asking offers days are less and less. In short, the market is transitioning from a white-hot seller market towards a more balanced, moderate seller learning environment. And then now, what do we expect for 2026, just around the corner? So here's what data and experts kind of forecast, suggesting that can be plausible for Central Ohio. All right, so many regions and state local forecasts suggest a continued price appreciation, but at a more moderate pace, not the double-digit jumps we've seen in prior years. So kind of bummer for that, but no major price crashes are anticipated for Columbus and Central Ohio, and the exceptions are for steady growths to come throughout the next years. Mortgage rates do expect to decline, but somewhat recent high rates may still stay in the mid 5% to 6% range in 2026. And for some buyers, it could be at 6.4%. In some effects, lower rates might bring back more buyers' interest and putting some upward pressure on that demand, though that will be depending on the inflation, the economic conditions, job growth, and overall household information. All right, what can I expect in Central Ohio? Well, price growth in 2026 will likely be positive, but modest, perhaps 3% to 6%, or in that ballpark, depending on your submarket. More balanced market conditions, expect more negotiations, more contingencies, and less bidding heat than the past. Inventory will remain a key variable. If more homeowners decide to list due to normal overturn like relocations, new construction, we could see a loser market. If inventory stays tight, sellers will retain some leverage, so keep that in mind. Submarkets in the strongest schools districts or in new highly desirable corridors, price appreciation may outperform the average in less sought out areas rather than having the growth be flattened. Interest rates and affordability will be crucial. Buyers' purchasing power will still be pressured as well, so keep that in mind. And moderate risks for some of the small pullbacks in the transition in weaker submarkets, particularly in economic headwinds or losing areas that are pretty typical and normal. In 2019, the median home price in Central Ohio sat nearly around 210, but in 2025 hovering at 300 to 350 range. So over the last 5 years, the market heavily favored sellers, low inventory, fast sales, multiple offers, and strong selling power. Now, we're beginning to see the shift, more inventory, longer selling times, and more price adjustment suggests that the seller dominance may be easing up just a little bit. Looking forward to 2026, I expect to continue price growth. But then again, like I said, a cooler market and pace with a balance between the buyers and the sellers. So if you're thinking about buying or selling a home or investing in Central Ohio in the next 12 to 18 months, now is the key moment to plan. Let me know if you're like me and you want to build your version of this video with a custom graphs or dig deeper into specific zip codes or counties or school districts. I'm always here to help with that and get you completely set up. And don't forget, we're always in and around Central Ohio and we're keeping it real here in Real Estate with Annette Marble and Associates.